crest and long flat 6 right, keep in line, flat 6 left through the dip, 100, keep left over straight crest in the long flat right, and long flat 6 left, keep in 100, flat right in over crest, slowing 50 for left height, the 4 left plus, over crest 80, keep well in. Keep moving.
With the dust and fog of the KCB Machakos Rally finally settled, the contenders moved to tackle the 7th round of the Kenya National Rally Championship, the KCB Nakuru Rally. The penultimate round of the 8-round series was held in the eastern part of Nakuru County near Marigat, more than 40 kilometers from Nakuru town. The Rift Valley Motorsports Club, one of the most respected clubs in the country and boasting a rich heritage of organizing tough rallies, including the famous Kenya 2000, which was a grueling 2,000-kilometer event over some of the worst roads in Kenya, was the proud host of this event. This year was no different, as the Rift Valley Motorsports Club lived up to their billing and arranged what is arguably one of the toughest rallies in the calendar in the harsh and dry countryside north of the equator. The Shell petrol station in the outskirts of Nakuru town hosted a pre-event check. Once they had all passed through, 45 cars made up the entry list. The big news was that championship leader Chatthe entered the Nakuru Rally as the 2015 FIA Africa Rally champion. Chatthe and his British co-driver Craig Torley were declared African champions after a dominant start-to-finish lead, which won them the Shell Pearl of Africa Uganda Rally. Chatthe brought the historic African title back to Kenya and became the 3rd Kenyan to win this prestigious award in 31 years, after David Horsey in 1984 and the late Shekameta in 1981. Chatthe is currently leading the championship table and just needs to finish in one of the top 8 positions to seal an extraordinary feat by clinching the first ever Kenya National Rally Championship in only his 4th season and to be crowned a double champion in the same year. However, Tapio Laukkanen was not to be ruled out from the championship title. He has been a strong contender and ready to capitalize on any mishap that might befall the championship leader. The day dawned dry and clear, perfect rallying weather, and the cars arrived early for the start outside the KCB Menengai branch. Despite the early hour, the town residents had already congregated to capture both the cars and the Deputy Governor of Nakuru County flagging off the event. All eyes were on Chatthe, who was on the verge of making history, and Laukkanen, who's been a sensational challenger of the championship.
Looking forward to a good rally, a good finish to seal the championship. And yeah, the strategy is just to keep a clean pace and get to the end with a good finish. That's it.
Just trying to concentrate what we are going to do. Yeah, it's a bit rocky stages, but the nice ones anyway, and fast like it should be.
The 8 stages on the equator roads of approximately 170 kilometers were the highlight of a typically varied and demanding route on rough and rocky roads. The first stage is the 16.5 kilometer hilltop stage, a Nakuru Rally regular. This year's version though has some new dusty and twisty sections, with tall sisal plants giving the drivers tunnel-like view and numerous dips that limit forward vision. Then came the marathon 50km Mukurin Molosirwe stages. This was the longest and hardest stage, testing the driver's stamina in the hot weather of the Baringo region. This was the stage that was going to separate the winners from the rest of the pack. This was then followed by a short spectator stage in Menengai before the survivors head to the first of 3 service stops at the nearby service park. The 22km Gecheha farm was the 4th stage with a new mix of wide and narrow tracks, followed by the 11km T-farm route. This was a route where the agricultural vehicles have left lots of ruts around with high grass and unseen junctions. Just before midday, the remaining competitors headed to the second service station to prepare for the second loop of the hilltop Mukurin and the spectator stage before finishing at the Menengai service park 2 hours later. As the crew made their final checks before setting off, a new clock system was the center of attraction. The Tag Heuer timing system from Switzerland was being tested for the first time on the stage by visiting experts from the UK. Such an advanced timing system was last used during the Inmarsat Safari Rally in 2002, part of the FIA World Rally Championship. The Tag Heuer system is exactly the same one being used in the World Rally Championship and is a major step in returning the Safari Rally to the top tier of global motorsport. Ian Duncan was first on the road. As the road opener, he was disadvantaged as he swept surface gravel to leave a faster line for those behind. He struggled to finish the stage with the 4th fastest time. With or without the Tag Heuer technology, the story in the front of the field was the same. Tapio Laukkanen was uncatchable. He rocketed through the stage in his Subaru Impreza in 10 minutes flat and had a massive 47-second lead. Carl Tunde led the Mitsubishi Onslaught and was second fastest on the stage. Quentin Mitchell and Thomas Taylor were 3 seconds behind Tundo. Karan Patel was impressive on this stage, recording the 5th fastest time. Championship leader Jasprit Chatthe had a nervous start and shared the 6th fastest time with Onka Rai, 1 minute behind the leader Laukkanen. But there was a surprise in the top 10. Kisumu's Chandrakant Devji set his career best time in his 20-year-old Impreza GC8 and recorded the 8th fastest time. Three seconds behind Chandrakant was the big Mitsubishi of outgoing champion Baldev Chaga. The Ford Fiesta of Manvir Barian was in 10th position. Last year's KCB Nakuru Rally winner Rajbir Rai had dropped to the bottom of the top 20 with an engine problem in his Ford Fiesta. The longest stage of the rally and one of the toughest of the entire season was the 50km Mukurin stage. The rocky roads and rough hard ruts packed the route, and midway through the stage, the road had been graded, making the loose rocks to spur punctures. Ian Duncan crushed his rivals through the marathon test and emerged the overall leader in the stage. His time of 27 minutes and 47 seconds was 10 seconds faster than Carl Tundo, enough to overhaul the local farmer from the leaderboard by 4 seconds.
Quite hard, tricky, rocky, fast, slippery. It's quite tricky.
Carl Tundo was second fastest in the stage. Baldev Chaga, navigated by his old friend Raju Semi, made it through the tough stage with the 3rd fastest time.
managed to get a puncture in the first stage, but we just drove on it towards the end, so lost a bit of time in that. Second stage, the car just felt like it was all over the place, so we tried as best as we could, but we got beaten by Tundo and Ian in that, so let's see what we can do now.
Chagga's usual co-driver and two-time Kenya National Rally Championship Navigator champion Ravi Soni was unable to participate following a rally raid accident that will see him sit out motor racing for almost 12 months. Chatthe was now over his nervous start to record the 5th fastest time and was now in 5th overall position. Raji Barrage appeared for the first time in the top 10, recording the 8th fastest time. The oldest competitor in the rally, Frank Tundo, recorded the 9th fastest time on this stage. This moved him from 12th to 9th overall position. The Channa brothers Jasmit and Ravi pushed their Mitsubishi Evo 9 to record the 10th fastest time. The front drivers were not aware that their biggest rival Tapio Laukkanen was struggling to finish the brutal stage. The Subaru Impreza of Laukkanen was crawling out of the stage on 3 wheels. The left rear wheel was out after a mechanical component broke. He however finished the stage with 13th fastest time, but that was the end of the Finn's final attempt to challenge for the championship. Mugurin had struck and Laukkanen had lost the championship battle. He retired and was out of the rally. So after 2 stages, Ian Duncan and Amos Latch were in pole position. Carl Tundo was 4 seconds behind. Quentin Mitchell was the only man to keep the pair of Mitsubishis in sight, with the other Mitsubishis and Fords falling away in a very tight group, squabbling over the remaining positions inside the top 10. After a slow start, Chagga had moved to 4th overall, 20 seconds ahead of the driver who will be dethroning him off his crown, Jassi Chatthe. The newcomers in the top 10 were the 3 Mitsubishis of Raji Barrage, Frank Tundo and Jasmine Channa.
We did take a few risks, but backed off a few after seeing a lot of people on the side of the road because we wanted to make it back here.
The stage was a disaster and Mugurin had claimed 7 other cars. Manveer suffered his first retirement of the season and was sidelined with damaged suspensions. The Ford Fiesta of Rajveer Rai was also out with a broken steering rack. The Mitsubishi of Aman Raj Rai, the 2 Subaru Imprezas of Steve Mwangi and Eric Njogu were rendered unroadworthy. Also out was the supplementary class winner in the last round, Taiti Washira in his Mitsubishi, and the young McRae Kimathi. 14th place, Hussein Malik was in control of the supplementary class. His Mitsubishi was over 4 minutes ahead of the 23rd place Subaru of James Kirimi. The hard work DevG put on the first stage fizzled in the second section as he drove the last 7 kilometers with a puncture and dropped to 3rd in the class, 8 seconds behind Kirimi. S-Class leader Murage Waigwa had a torrid time. After getting lost on the hilltop stage, he got a puncture halfway into the Mugurin stage. It was his first ever puncture in his rallying career, and what would have taken less than 5 minutes took a whopping 15 minutes to get going again. They fell to 38th and last in the overall classifications. Umar Khalid and Khurram Mansoor were 4th in the S-Class. Followed by Edward Miner, navigated by John Ngugi. Mombasa's Nadeem Khana, co-driven by James Mwangi, was struggling, and they were in 6th position in the supplementary class. The Porsche 911 of Tejveer Rai was leading the Classic Cup class in 14th position, but ended the stage with no brakes. A stone had damaged the brake pipe, leading to the leakage of the brake fluid. Second in the class and in 21st position overall was the Datsun 160J of Rob Hellier. Brothers Aslam and Arshad Khan were third in this class and in 24th position. Nish Laukkanen was fourth in his Datsun 1600 Triple S in the 31st position. Eric Bengi was flying in the two-wheel drive class in his Toyota Run X. He was in 19th place, over 2 minutes ahead of Sami Nyori in another Run X model. Gurmit Tethi was chasing the Run X and his VW Golf was in 3rd position in the class and 27th overall. Alex Lairangi, navigated by Anthony Gichohi, were in 4th position in this class. The Toyota series of Bhupinder Sagu, co-driven by Azhar Bhatti, were 34th overall and 5th in this class. Bengi's rival in the series, Leonardo Varese, was in 37th place overall, 6th in the class and over 6 minutes behind Bengi. Varese had lost time with a puncture on the first stage. After the marathon stage followed the short 1.7 kilometer spectator stage. Tunda surprised Duncan by reclaiming the overall lead by 4 seconds. Duncan took it too easy on the stage and was only 10th fastest. Were still giving away 8 seconds to Tundo. Mitchell still held 3rd place. 18 seconds ahead of Chaga, with Chatthe a further 19 seconds behind. The 35 remaining crew made their way to Menengai Service Park for the mid-morning service after a grueling 68 kilometers of motoring.
We are crossing our fingers. Let's see how we finish, but we are hoping to post a very strong result today.
The fourth stage was the 22-kilometer Gicheha farm stage. With his rival in the championship out of the rally, Jassi Chatthe drove at a steady and consistent pace, which was not slow, and emerged the fastest in the stage. The in-form Raji Barrage was second fastest and 4 seconds behind Chatthe. He was quickly closing the gap and was inching closer to 7th overall placed Onka Rai. For the 4th time in as many stages, Duncan again took over pole position after claiming 3rd fastest in the stage. He beat 5th fastest Tunda by 5 seconds to snatch the overall lead by a slender margin of just 1 second. Mitchell pushed the tiny Skoda Fabia to record the 5th fastest time on this stage. However, Jansha Sandhu overshot a left turn and his Mitsubishi Lancer got stuck at the bank. Unfortunately, Sandhu and co-driver Faisal Khan agonizingly watched their competitors whiz past them, while spectators helped joggle the car back into action. He dropped from 12th to 25th overall position. Dennis Mwenda and Jobin Chiru were on a mission to clinch the Division 2 championship for the first time. The title was within their reach and they were in the 11th overall position. Hot on their heels was their rival Azad Khan. He hadn't given up on the Division 2 championship even after missing the Machakos Rally. He was still a threat and in 12th overall position. Don Smith, navigated by Bob Kaogi, were in 13th place. Mombasa's Paras Pandya was keeping it neat and tidy and in 17th overall position. In the two-wheel drive class, Eric Bengi was still in the lead. However, the two-wheel drive stunt was his last action as he painfully retired on the transport section after breaking the drive shaft. Sami Nyori, navigated by Edward and Jeroge, were out of the race with gearbox problems. Out of nowhere, 26th place Alex Lairangi was in the lead by over 6 minutes from Karicha's Bhupinder Sagu. Leonardo Varese, co-driven by Kigo Karethi, were now in third position ahead of the VW of Gurmit Tethi. However, Gurmit Tethi and Hashil Lembani, after losing valuable time with battery issues, were back on the road and caught the car ahead and sat in dust for almost 10 kilometers. Sadly, they developed drive shaft problems and were out of the rally.
Today we drove well. I think the car was responding well, and we got the car ahead as well. We reached till the control, but to enter in, shaft went. So time bad.
The shortest competitive stage of the rally went through the Tundo farm. Chatthe went through the wheat plantation stage, ignoring the big drops on the left side with another fastest time. But Duncan matched him to the second and both finished the stage at the same time, 7 minutes and 34 seconds. It extended Ian's overall position by 7 seconds from Tundo, who managed third fastest. Unfortunately, Chaga was having problems and was moving backwards. A turbo pipe had come loose and the Mitsubishi was running down on power. He was fourth fastest but dropped to fifth overall position, while Karen and Onka kept the fight for fifth spot alive, both separated by 16 seconds. Mahesh Halai was having a great rally and he recorded the 10th fastest time on this stage and moved up one spot to claim 13th overall position. Hussein Malik's stronghold on the supplementary class was dealt a big blow as he was penalised 100 seconds for arriving late at the next control. The Mitsubishi's fuel pump stopped working on its way to the section, costing him the lead as he changed it. James Kirimi had now taken over the lead and was in 19th place overall. Devji was now in second place and 20th overall. The ladies' crew of Natasha Tunde and Chantal Young were in 25th position as the remaining competitors headed to the Menengai Service Park for the final service before heading to the second loop of the Hilltop, Mugurin and spectator stage.
It's been a bit rough, a few rocks and a lot of water splashes, and it's a bit rough here.
The African champion Jasprit Chatthe made it a hat-trick of stage wins. He was now in podium position and in third place overall, putting the Kenya Championship in sight. However, it continued to be a head-to-head race between Tunde and Duncan. Tunde had retaken the overall lead for the second time as Duncan was caught napping. He was second fastest on his stage, 10 seconds faster than Duncan. Duncan was sixth fastest and consequently dropped to the second overall position. A crew that was clearly challenging the leaders was Raji Barrage and Jasnil Gatore. They recorded the third fastest time on this stage. Karan Patel was breathing fire. And the battle for fifth position was heating up. He was fourth fastest, with his main rival Onkarai hot on his heels. By the end of the sixth stage, Carl Tunde had a 1 second lead ahead of Duncan. Chatthe was in a fantastic third place overall, and the Kenya Championship was now within reach with 2 more stages. Chaga dropped to 7th behind his teammate Onkarai. Barrage, Frank Tunde and Jasmine Chana remained in 8th, 9th and 10th place respectively. Fahaz Khan was in pain. He had fractured one of his fingers while playing volleyball before the event and was forced to stop twice in the previous stage due to the pain. And then 2 punctures, changed by his co-driver Riaz Ismail, had dropped him down to 17th place.
Especially like the long stage, the 50, I didn't expect. I thought, that come into the first service I wouldn't continue because of all the pain. But the adrenaline was good and we managed to keep going, and we're happy we're here,
The penultimate stage took us back to the daunting tracks of the Mugurin. It was all about getting the quickest time and avoiding punctures or unnecessary retirement. This was a desperately competitive stage. Ian Duncan and Amar Slatch were only too aware that Tunde was on the limit and were not going to let him get away. Their only strategy was to be fully committed, and they knew they would catch Tunde as they had mastered the stage on the first loop, where he had earlier taken the lead. However, just after 25 kilometers, the rocky roads of Mugurin struck. Ian got a puncture and he quickly changed the tyre within 3 minutes and managed to be back on the road and leaving Tunde in his dust. Sadly, by the end of the stage, Ian recorded the 4th fastest time. Tunde hit the jackpot and had a clean run, clear of any punctures, and won the stage in a big enough margin of 41 seconds. Quentin Mitchell was remarkable on this stage. His fast pace made him score the 2nd fastest time. Iceman Jasmine Chana was having a great rally and was steadily climbing up the ranks in every section. He recorded the 7th fastest time. Chatthe was also taking big risks to stay in the podium position, even though his championship was not secured. He needed a top 8 position to claim his first ever title. But a few kilometers into the stage, misfortune struck. Chatthe was a victim of not one but two punctures, with the second close to the end of the stage where he decided to drive to the finish. The incident cost him 5 places. He dropped from a fighting 3rd to 8th position, and the championship was now in jeopardy. Mugurin continued to strike, and this time it took 3 of the front-running Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 10s. Karan Patel got 3 punctures, one after another, then slowed down to a crawl after running out of spare wheels, painfully ending his rally in a fine 5th place. Onkar Rai did not make it out of the stage. The Mitsubishi, another victim of the torturous stage, was sidelined with a broken steering arm. Then the champion and the 2008 winner was gone. Chaga's reign as the champion of Kenya was also put to an end. Besides getting a puncture, he fared badly due to some body and sump damage, and he decided to call it a day. His first retirement of the season, a title he held for 21 months, was now over. With all this drama, Frank Tunda moved to 6th, Dennis Mwenda 8th, followed by Don Smith and Mahesh Halai. In the classic car class, Tejveer Rai was rushing to make up for lost time when this happened. The spin left him and co-driver Zahir Shah shaken, and was lucky that he avoided what could have been a disastrous end to his rally. After a few seconds to recover from the shock of the mishap, he was back to full throttle. Carl Tyndall and Tim Jessup clocked the fastest stage time by claiming the spectator stage to register their first victory since the KCB RSC Kiambu Rally in 2014.
Awesome, and it feels good to win after such a long dry period of no win, so I'm elated. Yeah, it's great fun.
Tyndall has now won the Rift Valley Motorsports Club event a total of 4 times since 2004.
It's been very close with Ian and us all day. Going into the last 2 stages we had 8 seconds between us, and then we clawed back 9, so we were leading by 1 second. And to be that close, it's just such good fun. That's what rallying's about.
Quentin Mitchell achieved his best ever result this year, and he was in 2nd place. It was Mitchell's first finish in Nakuru since 2008.
Just being able to be the only supercar at the end is quite good as well for us, and it certainly will prove to people that the S2000s do actually have what it takes, because they've got a lot of bad press recently, and I believed in the car, and now we're getting it right.
His co-driver Thomas Taylor achieved what his uncle and 3 times National Navigator champion Orson Taylor never managed in his career, finishing on the podium, and that also on only his 4th career event.
Today was a very rough rally, but I think we did astoundingly well with our little S2000. Managed to handle the rough, and therefore I think ourselves and the team and the sponsors are very happy.
Punctures had decided the final results, and it must have been disappointing for Ian Duncan, the king of the Rift, to lose the victory at the penultimate stage. Duncan has won this event a record 9 times since 1987. 3rd place was a frustrating result, especially after he was so close to clinching his 10th win in this event. Raji Barrage, back with his newly married co-driver Jasneel Katore, finished 4th to record his best result since his 4th place in last year's KCB Guru Nanak Rally.
We have learnt a lot in the last few rallies about just finishing rallies, getting points. We've learned quite a bit about the car. It's really good for the team, it's really good for Delights Motorsports, for Delights Kenya. By the end of this year we'll have all the gremlins out, and the main focus for Delights Motorsports is 2016. That's what we're working on now.
It was also Barrage's first ever finish in Nakuru. 5th spot was taken by the oldest driver in the rally, Frank Tundo. The veteran driver matched his 5th place in the KCB Safari to keep the youngsters at bay in the old version of the Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 9. He was navigated by Raju Chaga. It was Chaghe's 4th career top 5 finish. Jasmeet Chana registered his best result in Nakuru by claiming 6th place with his brother Ravinder in another Mitsubishi Evo 9 model. Dennis Mwenda and Jobin Jiru couldn't hide their joy. They were not only in 7th place, their best result this year, but he had also clinched the Division 2 title as their closest rival Asad Khan retired earlier in the race. This is an outstanding achievement from the former two-wheel drive champion. Chatte's worst result of the season gave him the championship title. His 7th consecutive finish of the season was an excellent showpiece achieved on his 34th career rally. But it was a close call for the new African champion. He was lucky to finish in the top 8 after his 2 punctures, as had Duncan won the rally, the championship would have gone down to the wire.
This year has been very committing, running both the championships and winning them. We've been really blessed, and it was not difficult. The whole team has been working around the clock, and everyone has been on the clock. It was all a teamwork, and at least I'm happy we made it to the end.
Chatte's navigator Gugu Panasar had already wrapped up the co-driver's title at the ceremonial start at the KCB Nakuru branch after his nearest rival Ravi Soni, chasing a hat-trick of titles, was unable to start.
Well, I'm feeling quite happy to win the Kenya National Rally Championship Navigator's title. It's a dream come true. We thank God for giving us all the courage to tackle this. And to add icing on the cake, we're very happy that we won the Safari Rally. And that was one of the greatest achievements that I've had in my career, winning the Safari Rally.
The Subaru blushes were saved by Don Smith and Bob Kaogi. They brought the first of the Subaru Imprezas to 9th place. It was the pair's first top 10 finish in over 19 months after their 5th place in last year's KCB Machakos Rally. Smith finished a close 2 seconds ahead of the Subaru Impreza of Mahesh and Ketan Halai. Natasha Tundu and Chantal Young registered their best result by finishing 19th overall in the Subaru Impreza, making it a dream rally for the Tundu family. A total of 28 drivers finished the rally, with Bhupinder Sagu and Azhar Bhatti taking the tail-end Charlie position in their Toyota series.
It was tough, but we brought the car home.
Chatthe is now officially the 2015 Kenya National Rally champion with 132.5 points. The fight for the 2 remaining podium places in the championship between Ian Duncan, Tapio Laukkannen and Carl Tundu and Baldev Chaghe, who is separated by 16 points, will be decided in the next round at the KCB Guru Nanak Rally. Duncan has won the Guru Nanak Rally a record 12 times and is the defending champion. Tapio will want to close the season the way he started, with a win. Chaghe has won a rally every season since 2012, and to go without one this season will dent his image. Then Tundu has no car at the moment. It will be interesting to see how he'll finish the season. In the hotly contested Division 1 Championship, Jasmeet Chana is now the new leader with 100 points, followed by Mahesh Halai and Amanraj Rai respectively. This championship is one to look out for in the final round. Dennis Mwenda has bagged the Division 2 championship, and Asad Khan, who has been a worthy opponent, will be content with the runners-up position. The battle for 3rd position will be settled in the last round. Jansha Sandhu has also clinched the Division 3 championship, leaving the rest to battle for privileged positions. George Njoroge and Lynette Ayuko scored their best result of the season by finishing in 12th position. But the SPV class win meant nothing, as he scored no points with a mandatory 3 eligible starters missing and failing to make it count.
Feels great, yeah, as we are still reading on our championship at the SPV class. We hope that Guru Nanak will also take the 1st position in SPV.
I thank God for starters for finishing this one, because every other time we'd pass a car that has stopped, you're like, okay, please let nothing happen to a car, please. But we got to the end, and I'm looking forward to the next one. I want to finish winners for our class though, yes.
George Njoroge still leads the class, and the best he can hope for is that the last round produces some competition, and that competition does not include Kisumu's Navdeep Sandhu, his closest challenger for the title. If he does appear, then Njoroge needs to finish behind him to secure the title. Aslam Khan became the 6th different driver to win the class this season. Navigated by his brother Arshad Khan, he finished the rally in 14th position in his Porsche 911. The two-time classic champion has moved to within just 2 points in the championship, behind second in class and 16th placed Rob Hellier. Tejveer Rai dropped to 4th overall. It was the last time the Porsche will be seen, as it will now be stripped in readiness for the East Africa Classic Safari in November. Nish Laukkanen finished in 23rd position and 4th in the class in his Datsun 1600 SSS. One of the most interesting battles has been in the supplementary class. Kirimi won the class for the 3rd time this year and was in 15th overall position. Hussein Malik at last finished the rally after 3 consecutive retirements. Co-driven by Absalon Aswani, recovered remarkably fast from the penalty as they were in 2nd place. However, it's the youngster Murage Wawaigwa who has shown the best of the performance. The Nakuru Rally was only his 10th career event, and he has surprised the experienced drivers in the class. Murage struggled in a rally which caused him so many problems that finishing 26th was a big relief, and more so that his 6th place in the class was worth 10 points, which took him to the head of the table for the 3rd time this season, 2 points ahead of Kirimi. Murage and Tuta Miyonki must finish ahead of the James Kirimi and Evans Mwenda team to be assured of the title in the final round of the season, the KCB Guru Nanak Rally. Tuta Miyonki could make history to become the first woman to claim a title in her class. 21st place and 3rd in the class, Devji has an outside chance to win the class, but that will depend on Waigwa and Kirimi both retiring, and he wins the class outright.
The highlight is we finished. We are happy we have finished, and the last stage I think we really did quite well, and we are happy about that.
Nadim took 4th ahead of Eldoret's Umar Khalid, who was returning to rallying for the first time in 3 years. The two-wheel drive class was won by Alex Lairangi and Anthony Gichohi. It was their first win this season and in 22nd position. Leonardo Varese finished in 2nd position, and this overhauled the championship standings to nothing short of an exciting finale. He leads the championship with 13 points and needs the top 4 position to win this championship. Eric Bengi, who has been phenomenal this year, will blame the Nakuru Rally if he loses the title. However, he must win in the last round for him to have a shot at the title championship. Lairangi and Nyori have no chance of winning the championship, but are strong contenders for 2nd and 3rd positions, depending on where Bengi finishes. So after a grueling race, the KCB Nakuru Rally did not disappoint. The action, suspense and surprises made great entertainment for all rally enthusiasts, and all this was made possible through the generous support of KCB, who continue to support the Kenya National Rally Championship, thus contributing to the growth and development of motorsport in Kenya. The teams will fire up their engines for the last time this year in the KCB Guru Nanak Rally, the final round of the KCB Kenya National Rally Championship Series. See you there!